Welcome back to the Bourbon Note, everybody. I'm Ben. Got a sample of something limited on the bar. Let's get into it. All right, so tonight on the bar, I've got BAM. This is a sample from Non-Bike Riding Dave Vogelsang. This is Joseph A. Magnus Murray Hill Club Special Release Number 4. So this is 111 proof bourbon, finished in Calvados casks. Don't know what that means, but apparently it's French because they were sourced from the Normandy region of France, according to the World Wide Web. So this is the number 4 limited release of Joseph A. Magnus's Murray Hill Club. They have a regular Murray Hill Club. I'm not sure what the blend of that is. I believe it's maybe like a blend of like bourbon and light whiskey or something. That's their regular normal shelfer release. But apparently they have these limited releases where they do some secondary finishing and stuff like that. So this one here is a blend of 8 and 17-year bourbons. Mash bill 75% corn, 21% rye, 4% malted barley. And I really wish that companies would start putting the suggested retail price on the website. Like, I think it's good information to have, especially when, anytime you get a hold of something limited, it's impossible to find, what the actual price is, because you go online and it's secondary stuff and it ranges from, within hundreds of dollars. So they didn't have the suggested retail price on the website. From what I gathered, everything I found, the lower end prices I was finding was about 180 bucks. So correct me if I'm wrong on that, but Joseph A. Magnus, if you want good information on the internet, put it on the website. Anyway, this is a blend that's kind of like the brainchild of Nancy Fraley, who is a world-renowned whiskey blender. Been lucky enough to have some Nancy Fraley store picks and things like that, and they've all been amazing, so I'm assuming this is going to be nothing short of incredible. On the nose, it's nothing short of incredible, to be perfectly honest. On the website, there were some tasting notes. I intentionally didn't read them just because I didn't want my opinion swayed. But this is super rich and dense. The 111 proof, I think, it's there, but it's mostly in flavor and less in ethanol bite, which is a nice balance to have. Really, really dark. There's some, getting like real fall vibes off of this. Dark cinnamons. It's almost a bit of a floral note to it, like a potpourri sort of deal. But it's very, very sweet on the nose. It's like desserty sweet. Well, let's get into the palate, see what happens. Cheers. Oh, wow. That's incredible. That is really good. So the most noticeable thing right away on the palate is everything on the nose kind of transfers over to the palate. So it's one of those ones that's kind of balanced nicely between the nose and the palate, where kind of getting the same flavor. Some bourbons you get and it's night and day, smell versus taste. This is really balanced in that department. Those really, really rich, sweet notes come forward kind of first. There's a really nice oak presence to it as well. So it's one of those ones, really super sweet. It's maybe a little bit of chocolate in there, but it's like a dark cinnamon, darker brown sugars, maybe more like a molasses sort of, like everything is dark and rich. Great mouthfeel, so it's got some viscosity to it. It's all kind of wrapped up in a nice sort of oak note. But there is a little bit of kind of some sort of floral or like dark fruit note in it as well. And they all really complement each other. Let's go in for sip number 2 here. That's amazing. That's an excellent whiskey. Nancy, you did a fantastic job on this. On that second sip, I noticed a nice peppery finish. a little bit of maybe like a kind of a leather and pipe tobacco. This thing just has everything going for it. Again, like those darker sweetness are really the upfront notes. That's kind of like the main kind of showing in this one. But there's just so many different, you know, kind of flavors and notes that kind of just wrap around it. And sometimes that's not always a good thing, because sometimes it just makes the whiskey kind of go all over the place and it doesn't have one good right down the middle kind of, you know, profile. Like some whiskeys have it where it's just almost like a muddled mess where you can't really tell what it's trying to do. And this one has a ton going, but it's all kind of anchored down by that incredible like dark baking spices and sweetness. That nice oak note, I think, kind of turns into that peppery note on the finish. But yeah, on that last one, I definitely noticed a little bit of leather. And sometimes, like when I say like a pipe tobacco, like a tobacco note, I kind of mean that almost in like a sweet, fruity tobacco, if that makes any sense. Like some sort of like flavored pipe tobaccos maybe, or even just like I remember when I was a kid, my grandpa always used to have this little tin of pipe tobacco sitting next to his chair by the fireplace, and I always used to go down there and open it up and smell it because it smelled amazing. And so when I say pipe tobacco, I'm always thinking of that stuff, and that almost had like a rich kind of almost fruity aroma to it. And so I think the tobacco note I'm getting on this is maybe kind of intertwined or mixed. It's kind of that same thing that I'm getting, kind of those darker fruit notes. Let's go in for one more sip before we get out of here. Cheers. Yeah, I don't know what more to say about this. That's an incredibly good bourbon. The price tag of around the 180 that I think maybe is the MSRP. Can't remember if it's like 180 or 150 or whatever. I don't usually buy whiskeys that expensive unless they're really special. I would probably buy this one if I saw this on the shelf, because that's just a fantastic whiskey. This drinks every bit a premium whiskey that you would expect to come with that price point. You can also taste the age on it. I don't know what the balance between the 8 and the 17 year is. I'm assuming it's probably front loaded with more 8-year bourbon. Just because that makes sense, you know. But the 17 years I think is really showing through, or maybe it's just a secondary barreling, but it really brings a nice kind of old dusty quality to it, which I kind of use to describe just that it just tastes old. And I don't know if that makes a ton of sense, but I think some of you watching probably know what I'm talking about. When you get like an extra age bourbon and it almost just comes across like it just comes across as dusty. I don't know how much more to describe that. I don't really know how to perfectly put that into words, but yeah, it drinks old, it drinks premium, it's sweet with that nice peppery and oak finish. There's some floral notes to it, there's some fruit notes to it. This just has a little bit of everything, so I would recommend this. Again, at the price point, anytime a bourbon gets up into that price point, I think that's more of just a you thing, whether or not you want to spend that kind of money. This is definitely not one of those bourbons that comes out, has a premium price point, and doesn't live up to it. So for what that's worth, this is an incredible whiskey. So Nancy, again, excellent job on this. I will definitely be looking for a bottle. So this has been Joseph A. Magnus Murray Hill Club Special Release number 4, courtesy of Non-Bike Riding, Dave Vogel saying thank you again, Dave. Please like, comment, subscribe. Thank you very, very much for watching. I'm Ben, and we'll see you on the next one.